Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I like the comment about the Mountain Dew thing in my logo. No, my wonderful wife who made it for me did that all on her own. I do also have this cup. You will have to infer the obvious green of the background. It says, in case of accident, my blood type is Mountain Dew. Seems appropriate. I hold it over. I guess if I hold it appropriately over my good friend Robert Dr. Frankenstein, now you can get the kind of greenish color going. So yes, Christmas Squirrel, Robert Dr. Frankenstein. We love him. He's wonderful. That's awesome. Okay, tonight, material design in XAML. Uh, yeah, clearly a generic non-copyright infringing green can. Yes, and it's all mine. It's all mine. So material design in XAML. Nikolai has a PR open for the split button that we're going to dive in and take a look at. It's loosely based upon something I did in one of my other apps that I pointed into, and he ran with it. So I was like, great, that sounds wonderful. So we are going to take a look at that and then probably play around with trying to see how close we are to getting this 5.0 release out the door, because that'd be kind of cool. So we'll see where that leads. We will see where that leads. So, for those who wish to follow along at home, this is the PR in question. And it's Nikolai. He's awesome. So you can see he's kind of put together a whole bunch of demos. There's a little bit of duplication here. I have a secret dream of building a template engine for XAML, or somewhat a generic XML-based template engine, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, this PR contains 0 UI tests. We'll see about that. I don't know. He just pushed a bunch of commits last night. But yeah, contains 0 UI tests, which is great. We may play with it a little bit. Example usage looks like something along these lines. Okay, perfect. Let's take a brief look at this. So let's start with actually, because I think I didn't even open my solution. Let me make sure. I think I'm on its branch. Come here. Yeah, so I'm on the branch. Huzzah. Okay, great. Let us take a look with something simple like Fiery Demo App up. Okay, so first thing and most important thing here is it is in both the Material Design 3 and the main demo app. So we'll take a brief look. I imagine they probably look very similar. I have dreams of collapsing these things in together so that people can swap between them, which I think would be awesome. It's just hard because then you don't test your default level XAML. But okay, buttons. Okay, and we have a bunch of split buttons. Looks very similar to a screenshot, though there's your light theme variants. Let's see here. I see raise secondary. Is that the light, mid, dark? Okay. And then if we go dark mode, looks a little brighter. I am a bit surprised that light mode adjusts the I'm a little interested in double checking what the base color is without the auto conversion, but this seems fine. So there is a split button. There's clearly a drop down arrow here in the middle. This is the content of it. Seems reasonable. I like the outline style, very similar to what we have here. I'm a little torn on the flat button style because I don't know how much value it adds versus just having 2 flat buttons. But it's not bad at all. Let's see. So what is the difference here? So flat, secondary, light, flat, secondary, split, and then so primary, secondary. What is Outline split button. What is the difference with this one? Paper split button. Paper light split button. Oh, do we have separate ones up here? Oh, we do. Okay, I see. He was mirroring if it's not obvious, it's the foreground colors here that are the biggest telltale differences between that and that. It's a minor thing. Really like the way the overlay works there. Split button options. Let's see here. So he's implemented corner radius. So if you want to round it, that works here. Pop-up direction. Top align centers. Oh, cool. So he's forwarded in the pop-up placement mode. That's clever. And then pop-up elevation and pop-up corner radius. Oh, that's nice. Now, the one thing I'm really interested in is, could you do a button down here like that? That interests me a great deal. We may play with this. Let's take a look at. So, don't care too much about the demo one. Those kind of already work. Okay, so let's take a look at the actual code in question here. Split button, and I think we're just going to look at it here, as the entire file is new. Okay, pop-up box part name, public const used in both places, pop-up elevation, uniform, pop-up content. We're just gonna clean this up while we see it. Let's see, string format, template selector, button style. This one interests me specifically because it's internal. I'm gonna just let's clear all the bookmarks. I'm just gonna bookmark things as we go that I want to come back and look closer at. So button style, curious what it's used for. Whenever I see internal ones, I want to understand them. Pop-up button clicked command. This one also interests me. Again, it's internal, so I'm surprised to see it there. Okay, and then this thing. Action command. Oh, I am. Huh. This one surprises me that we are populated command. I kind of wouldn't have expected that. I am sort of wondering, one of the things that I'm noticing that is missing, like a lot of the pop-up properties are forward through, but is open, which is probably one of the more common pop-up things to want to bind to, is not forwarded. So I'm kind of curious about that. I realize the intent is probably to handle is open internally, which is fine. This probably needs a weak reference handler. So we're gonna yeah. And this is attempting to remove it, but it's also missing the removal here. And then open pop-up box is just done right there. Okay. Mostly makes sense. Let's just collapse this for now. We aren't going to check the box until we've actually viewed it. Okay, and then this is in the pop-up box. First non-null converter. Oh, I think I looked at this before and I just didn't mark it off. This is just allowing different ones to fall through. There was a side chat I had with Nikolai about this because I had recommended a priority binding, which is not a binding that most people even use or know exists in WPF. Other XAML frameworks, there's not an equivalent. But he pointed out what we're looking to do here is slightly different because we don't get the dependency property unset value coming through. So it's fine. Okay, so let's take a look here. Okay, and this split button, I think, is largely stolen. Read, copy, and paste straight from the button template or button styles. Some of these things are kind of very reminiscent of that. Like this height is a common one in here. Okay, so button pop-up box. Ripple assist is disabled. Interesting. I wonder why we're disabling the ripple assist. Because I could have sworn I saw the ripple occur in here. Oh. Yeah. Huh. I don't know what that line is doing when it seems to be working. Oh, I wonder if that's for hit testing. That could be. Okay. Toggle content. Yeah, because there's the left button or primary button might even be another way of saying it. Part pop-up box, which makes sense. Because this is basically just a loose wrapper. The other thing I'm noticing that seems to be missing is this thing doesn't expose, what is it? Oh, it derives from button, so it does expose it. I was thinking of things like command parameter, clicked, etc. It's interesting of what it's going to raise, but I think that all of that's fine. I think this left button is probably missing some template bindings here. So specifically, oh, let's go. I was going to look at it here. That way I could add bookmarks as I go, and then we'll circle back to it. So I suspect that this guy here, even though split button derives from button, it doesn't look like the command property isn't being forwarded in here. Just potentially quite problematic. Because I would assume if you bind to the command, that's what you would expect. Because you wouldn't necessarily expect to bind here. I also suspect that we don't want to do this here at all. Because this is one of the things that often trips people up, especially with MVVM and WPF, is the idea that you should use MVVM for everything is very, very strong. Like you will see hard and fast rules. The problem is MVVM is very much an application level implementation. When you're building out custom controls, it's usually not what you want. More often than not, for building the custom control, you actually want to do code behind a manipulation and not necessarily leverage MVVM and forward those properties so that the application can leverage it. And in this case, it's not that big of a deal. Like this thing here it's a template binding into an internal property. Like it's fine, but I think a cleaner approach here, we might just make this X name part pop-up button. Is that? Actually, this is interesting. Because this is a pop-up box. What happens if I do nothing? Hey, Izzy, how you doing? Currently looking at a PR on the material design in XAML from Nikolai. So it's adding a split button control, which is all of these things here. And for the most part, it's pretty good. I'm trying to decide if I even, okay, we're gonna try this. So I've just removed the command handler from the right drop downy button. I think I only know this because I was playing with pop-up box on a different project recently. I think we can cheat because this thing is disabling the ripple, and that's why it's disabling the ripple on the pop-up box. It's disabling it on the pop-up box so that the ripple on the button can be used instead. That's what's going on. And I'm wondering if we actually want to go the other direction. Okay, so that guy goes there. Yeah, this guy's intentionally trying to be hit test visible true. And I think we actually want to go the other direction, because if I do this, tree launch. I think the problem is the click event gets consumed by the button and doesn't make it down to the pop-up box, which is attempting to watch for it, I think. That's my working theory. Okay, we really should change the here, just so I stop doing it. You can come in here. Boom. That. So if we do nothing, we can let the pop-up box roll with it. And I think we get rid of this. Because what we really want here is we want the pop-up box behavior, but the look of a button. Like that's the kicker here, is what we really want, is the look of the button flowing all the way through. And that also explains the button styling in here. And so the button style I'm less concerned with, because that's really just to forward these things in. Oh, interesting. By doing that, the pop-up box's ripple is allowed to expand. To bounds, true. I think we can lock it. I think we can lock this guy down. No? Okay. Let's look. I feel like we want to invert this a little bit. And worst case scenario, go back to how it was, but then let hello. Why aren't you picking up, Snoop? Oh, weird. That's bizarre. The fact that Snoop attached and the world went. Okay, we're going to try this again. I don't understand what just happened there. That was very, very bizarre. Oh, I wonder which one which target framework I'm on. I wonder if I'm picking up like a net 8 situation. There we go. And now it's zeroing in where it's supposed to. There we go. That's what I'm after. Okay, thank you. That took way too long. Okay, so there's the pop-up box button. And if we look at this guy's clip to bounds, it should be, oh, it's false. Oh, but this is where I set this guy here. This guy here is what is, oh, now it's appropriately clipping. Good. It just needed to be rebuilt. Yeah, I think that's a little cleaner, because then we can, we don't even need this name anymore. I think we can do this, and then we can come over here, and then we don't need this. We don't need this. Technically, if we don't need that, we don't need the open pop-up box. And we don't need any of this. Where did this, yeah, so your references go away. Okay. Okay. I like this. Less code. It's really hard to have a bug if the code doesn't exist. We might get rid of everything inside of there. So we might be able to just so the big idea here is code behind is perfectly acceptable when building custom controls. And in fact, that's where you want to implement your behavior, probably without MVVM. But in this case, we can leverage the behavior that's in the code behind on pop-up box, which watches its toggle content. So toggle content, slightly bad name. It's the content of the toggle button itself. Because a pop-up box is a thin veneer between a toggle button and a pop-up control. You can't have a bug if the code doesn't exist. Yeah, that's a little tongue-in-cheek. That like sometimes the absence of code is the bug. So take that with a small grain of salt. But it's much harder to have a bug in code that doesn't exist. Much, much harder. Okay, that looks nicer. I don't know if anybody else has seen that rendering problem. That's exciting. What the heck? It's just called a missing feature at that point. I'm thinking this is just a rendering issue, but I want to confirm something's weird. In fact, there was a thing on the, it's weird that it immediately loses its mind the moment I attach Snoop to it. Yeah, it's weird to see Snoop open and nothing connect. Something's up. And I think it's just mine. Let me close down my other Visual Studio and see if that makes a difference. Okay. But that saves that problem. Let's clean this up. I like this a little better. I like this a little bit better. We've answered what button style is used for, so I'm going to clear that one. I'm going to actually just drop part pop-up box because at present, the split button doesn't need it. It doesn't need it, which means it doesn't have any reference template parts. I'm wondering if it should, but does that mean where is left button referenced? So this guy here is measuring his height based on the left button. Okay. I like that. I like that. And then these are all just secondary ones. Now, there's a big question here about if this is the right way to go about doing it. But I think for the most part, I like this. Let's add some UI tests for this really quick, because this is, well, yeah, this is getting very, very close. Where did my bookmarks go? Hello? Where is my bookmark window? Okay, show me my bookmark. So this guy here, I think we answered the question about what he's used for. I think just by convention, I'm going to rename this guy to part left button. Now, the idea of all caps part underscore is generally used to represent template part things, but there's no requirement that it be exactly like that. Is mouse over or keyboard focused? We're going to shadow assist darken on the outer grid. Got it. And that is pulling in there. Okay, so I suspect if we go here, we go WPF, and let's do this. So add new folder, split buttons. Let's see, add new class. We want to make sure this thing works. Split button test. Boom. Or at least we're going to get this started. I don't know if we'll fully finish this. We might switch and go play with some other stuff, but we're gonna get this mildly started, and I'm gonna just blatantly steal from one of my other classes because thinking is hard. Paste. Ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-bum, bippity-boppity-booyah. And we're just going to come in here and grab something like this. And bippity-bop. Okay, so let's see. On the wrong one. Let's see. We don't need a description attribute. Okay, so split button. And I kind of want to test the click handler of button and the, let's see, click handler of button and the command property with bound command executes command. So we're going to do something like that. And then okay, so maybe we should start simpler. Looking split button. How about shows pop up? We're gonna do this. We're gonna do split button. It's gonna be what we get back. We go here, and then we're just gonna go steal some code from the demo app, I think. Because we could write it ourselves, or we could just go poach somebody who's already written it. Remember, it's not plagiarism if you steal from yourself. Or in my case, I'm kind of stealing from Nikolai. Let's see here. Visual Studio. Thank you. I don't know what that hang was about. Let's see. We're going to go here. We're going to do something like this. Okay, so split button. Clicking. Let's see. Split button. Blah, blah, blah. Don't really care about your vertical alignment. We're going to just go center. And we don't want to do pop-up content. Let's just do text block X name. Hey, now you Copilot, you're so smart. You're so smart. Okay. Let's see here. So we want to grab access inside. So this is going to be called split button. Let's see. We want to do visual element button. Oh, sure. In academia, they probably have some dumb rule like that. Being able to not copy yourself. Real life, you're generally allowed to reuse stuff, especially if you're the creator of it. As long as you didn't sell, like if you're a contractor or something and like you did the work but it was on behalf of somebody else, then maybe you can't reuse it. Like there's some weird stuff in that regard where you can't always steal from yourself, but the premise being if you're the one who owns it, you're allowed to steal it. Because it's kind of hard to steal from yourself. Let's see. Get element. I want to get element button, and I want to do. Let's see. Part left button. I also have this dream at some point. I would love to improve the source generator in XAML test so that it would have some concept of this thing, and I could have strongly typed lookups, which I think would be cool. Let's call it left button. So our act portion of the test is going to be clicking the button. Left button. Left click. And so at this point, then what we want to do is we want to do wait for, because pop-ups technically have an animation as they're coming up. So we're going to go after this guy here. and make sure he's visible, but we're gonna wait just a little bit. So visual element. Let's do two things. Pop up gets await, split button, get element. And there should only be a single pop-up control inside of this guy, so we can just do this. And then visual element. Let's see, text block. Pop-up content gets await. Pop-up get element. Text block. No, Copilot. The name's right there. How could you not understand exactly how this third-party library that you don't see much gets used? 6 months, no compete clause. Yeah, that is one of those areas where, again, my comment was a little tongue-in-cheek, but the idea being, if you are the author, or one of my cheap tricks that I will do is, I will oftentimes, when I know something's on the horizon that I want to use, I will go and build it open source and release it, and then when it comes needed at my work, it's like, well, there's this great open source thing we could use. I know the author. Cheap tricks. Okay, so we want to wait for first on pop-up is open. We're gonna do await async, so we'll give that a little bit of time to complete, and then we're going to pop-up content get is visible, and then we're going to do that. So the awaits here are smart enough. When the return type is a Boolean, it will wait until it gets a true. The other overload for this will wait for no exception to be thrown. Okay, so let's start with this. This is the simplest of all possible tests we could write. Click button. Oh, actually, this is stupid. This is a dumb test, because I literally wrote the test against the left button click, which is not the button that opens the pop-up. This test should fail. It'll be a good explanation of why your test should start red. Well, we clicked the main button, and it did nothing. I am going to also set horizontal alignment equals center as well, just for visual purposes. Okay, so how about we change this to be, I don't know, right button. And then what did we call that guy? We actually, there isn't a good way to grab him, because we want to grab the pop-up box. Pop-up box. Did I really name a... I did name this. We're going to fix this real quick, because I'm annoyed that I have to do this. I've been intentionally trying to name things so that there isn't a naming conflict, because before I had to prefix all this with WPF pop-up box. That's just dumb. That's just dumb. So pro tip, you should not have namespaces that match your class names, because then you have to do garbage like that. Pop-up box, and then we don't need to grab it by name. Let's see, let's change this to pop-up box. And actually, do we need to grab the pop-up? I don't think we do. I don't think we do. I think what we can do instead is pop-up box, and then this guy has a get is pop-up open. What is the property on you? This guy has a property for knowing if the pop-up's open. Let's see, toggle should be is something, isn't it? Is pop-up open? Yeah. So we want to do get is pop-up open. Ah, good instructional point. Okay. So pop-up box clearly has this thing, but we are not getting strong type checking here. So the magical incantation, as I figure out where I put them, here. You'll note this assembly, generate helpers. We're going to come down here. Why aren't these alphabetized? That bothers me now. A, B, C, C, D, S. Yeah, something like that. Let's see. Element O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V. See, that's close. You're close, but no. But if we do pop-up box here, XAML test comes with a source generator that then proceeds to look at the properties on this guy and go, I got you. And now get is pop-up open is magically a method on visual element for pop-up box. Source generators writing extension methods are kind of cool. Kind of cool. Okay, so is this the right test though? So we load up the split button, we grab the pop-up box, clicking. Yeah, I don't know if I like clicking split button. I'm not sure on the name. So we grab the pop-up box, we grab the pop-up box's content, we left click on the pop-up box, we verify that the pop-up box is pop-up open. We're not going to waste our time testing the internals of pop-up box. We're just going to assume that there's other tests that cover that. Even if that's wrong, this test is around the split button. And then we're going to validate that this content is visible. So arguably kind of testing it. Good enough. Okay. Now we run test and it worked flawlessly and everyone rejoices. Or I rejoice. That's ha 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 ha, green test. Okay. That makes me significantly happier. Okay, so next up. Split button can register for click event. Let's not do that. Register for click raises event. Register. Spelling hard. Okay. So the issue here is in order to do code behindy stuff in XAML test, there's not a great way to do this, right? Actually, we kind of can. I lied. Split button, register for event name, split button dot click event dot name. Boom. That was easy. Let's see. Event registration. Click event. We'll do that. And then this is obviously coming from a base class. So we'll go ahead and do that. And then we're going to grab the pop-up box again this time. And this time I think we are going to grab left button. Because I want to click on both of them and validate the click event is what we're going for. Get element button, part, left button. Let's see, you become button. Okay. And then we're going to do await left button, left click. And then we're going to do click event, get invocations, await count int left button count. We're gonna do something like that. Pop-up box. Right button count. Now, the question is, what is my expectation here? Should the click event be raised regardless of which button you be clicked on? At minimum, it guarantees should be incrementing the count here. right? This we expect to be 1. So we're going to do assert equal 1 left button count. That is guaranteed to be an increment. Now the question is, do we expect the click event to be raised if you click the arrow for the dropdown? I think the answer is no. Just like we wouldn't expect the command to be fired. So I think that's the expectation. Let's test it. Yeah, pretty confident we fail. Let's see here. Assert values expected 1, actual 0. Yeah, so this test is guaranteed to be in a failure state because it's not working. And I'm going to do nota bene. No, the pop-up box button should only show the pop-up, not trigger the click event. Okay, so there's that. We need that. The other trigger. Dear AI, you can read the whole internet, but you still can't spell. I love it. I saw that line on X earlier, and I thought it was very apropos. Okay, so we also want to make sure that the command functionality works. We also want to verify that if we put a button inside of here, we can click it and fire the command. That's the other thing. Or, well, let's do this. Let's see, split button with button in pop-up can be invoked. So down here, what we want to do is we want to do button pop-up content, pop-up content. Don't really care about this. What's going to be important here is we want to verify that we can actually invoke this. So we want to not do this registration here, but we want visual element of button pop-up content gets await split button get element button of pop-up content. There we go. So we got that, and then we want this guy to register for his click event. So, because we want to make sure that we can expand this thing, get to the button, go clicky clicky, and have it fire. Okay, so we don't need this guy for this. We're going to move this down. I like to separate things out, make them a little more intricate. Okay, so we're going to do this, and then down here. So after the... So we're going to... This expands it, and then we are going to go pop-up button, content left click, and then we want to assert that the... let's see, await click event dot get invocations. Actually, let's do this. Let's grab them here. Var invocations gets. Oh, so good, Copilot. So good. I love it. You're so good. Okay, we're gonna do that. I think that's a little easier. Yeah, sure. Assert single. Great. Okay. Something like this. I'm only mildly pausing because I am wondering if this is going to fire too quickly. Occasionally these things fire a little too fast. But we are going to test. It may not be that bad. Like XAML test has very little that intentionally like slows down or retries without you doing something very, very explicit. Okay, so blew up, but blew up why is the question. Cannot set unknown member button text. Oh, because button doesn't have a text property. Button has a content property. Okay, try that again. I will say, of all the libraries I've built, XAML test makes me really happy. Okay, so what happened here exactly? The collection was empty, so we did not get the click on the other one. So let's do this. I would like to pause it here and debug this test. Because I'd like to see what is actually going on. Because it's very possible it's just... Yeah, so it's just jumping too quick. Oh, and this thing is attached. Visual Studio. Can I have my computer back, please? Hello? Visual Studio. Oh, thank you. Oh, you're on top. Okay, so we're gonna stop this really quick. Okay, not helpful, Visual Studio. Okay, so base class has a property on it. We're dealing with this. I would like to turn this off for the moment. Do not attach to remote process. And then I thought I gave myself a topmost option, but maybe not. Maybe not. What is your use primary constructor? Oh, we could use a primary constructor now. That's kind of cool. I kind of like it. Kind of like it. It's kind of nice. Okay. But the important part here is now when we hit this breakpoint, Visual Studio will only be attached to our testing project, not the running app. Therefore, we can then pause with the... Yeah, so I noticed that the cursor jumped to here. And I'm willing to bet if I click here, and then we come over here, come on, Visual Studio. Step. I pressed F10. Guess I don't have Karnak running, do I? Come on. You can do it, Visual Studio. Step over. Or at least come back to me where I can control you and click buttons. It'd be really great if you didn't just hang like this. Okay. Can I look at the invocation count? Are you going to let me do that? You going to let me open a diagnostic window of any kind? Okay. Invocations count 1. Okay. So it worked aside from the fact that when the pop-up occurred, it lost its mind on where to do the left click. So I think we're going to try... So I have a sinking suspicion that if I do a task delay... Now this is bad, and we're not going to leave it like this because I've gotten bit by my test too many times doing this. But I think this might pass because I think the issue is it's trying to do the click. Yeah, see, once the thing was appropriately visible, then it knew what to do. So we're going to do await... let's see, wait for... let's see. Async... We'll delay this a little bit. Await pop-up content get is visible. And then get actual height, I don't know, greater than 10. Basically, I don't need it all the way visible, but I need it big enough that we can measure a location and click on it. Okay, this probably works now, I hope. Click, click. It failed, saying the collection was empty, but it looked like it did what I wanted it to. This passed, right? When I did this, I'm just realizing I don't know if it did. It didn't register it. Interesting. But when I manually clicked it, it did. Okay, so that will warrant some investigation. The pop-up, some time to show. Okay, so the other one is test setting the command property or test binding to the command property and ensure it fires when the left button is clicked. Let's see. Test enabling and disabling the split button with the commands can execute. Trying to think of what else we need to implement here or to test. I'm less concerned about things like is enabled, because is enabled propagates. Because if you set like is enabled on a grid, it obviously disables everything in the grid. So that one I'm real confident in. I think the functionality of this is really what we're going for. I'm surprised. Let's see. If the click event works on the nested button, I'm not real worried about the command on it. There's an awkward thing here where we can't fully treat these like unit tests, because we want actually as few of these tests as possible, because UI based tests are expensive in terms of time. Like, it does not take very long for us to get really, really long execution times on these tests. Because if you figure every test maybe executes for a few seconds, there are already, how many are in here? 355. So let's just ballpark this real quick, right? So we'll call it 350 for simplicity's sake, times 3 seconds, right? Divided by 60 seconds in a minute. We're at 17 and a half minutes of UI testing, of tests that can't be parallelized. And a big hit to this is the startup time to stand up a whole WPF window to do this testing in, which is why so much of the time we the base class here will when it goes to fire this up. Oh, I guess this one is yeah, so it's using the iAsync lifetime on initialize async to stand up a whole new one. We could probably, so like XAML test directly, it cheats. I'll show you this trick, because this is one that's really hard to do. Let's see, where is the get element tests? This one will show it off. So it's using MS test rather than XUnit, but you can all of the big 3 unit testing frameworks, XUnit, NUnit, MS test, like, they are all very close on feature parity. People's selection on them is usually around, I like this feature or I like that thing about X. Like, that's usually where it comes down to. There's a handful of things that you can only do in one of them, but it's very small. But specifically this idea here of once per class, it creates an app, initializes the app, and creates a window with content. Specifically so that each of these tests, rather than reloading an entire app, they call window set content instead. So that this set of tests only creates one window and just reassigns the content. The hard part is you can't just blindly do this, because sometimes you want to change things that exist outside of the content, or you make things that affect the whole app, like theming changes or whatnot, and you don't want those to propagate. But when possible, doing something like this can seriously cut down on the execution time. It may be something that I end up having to attack with these UI tests, because we're getting enough of them that 20 minutes of execution time is a lot, and I don't like that. But it'll start with refactoring this test base so that we don't have this initialize firing off every single time. So I think if we got these tests implemented, and I think the only big complaint I have on the split button right now is a lack of wiring up on like command and click events. I think that's the big thing I want to see implemented before we merge this. And then I think we're probably good to go. Because we fixed the other thing. Yeah, and this is just doing that. That's all fine. Let's just briefly take a look at... Okay, so we've either fixed or addressed everything inside of there. We've looked over that. Just briefly take a look at the demo. I don't expect there to be anything fancy here. New rows, rectangles, like this is going to be all the same thing. And sharing pop-up content, all of that's fine. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is this. Let's push these changes. Some minor cleanup and starting on UI tests. Let me look over and see if there was anything else in Nikolai's description that I missed. Okay. It leverages existing button styles to avoid too much maintenance work, which is good. Let's see. Discoverability. Let's see. Does not impact the visual tree. Let's see. I opted not to use the cool resource key stuff generated yet. It'll probably require changes to the button template as well. As such, I would rather get this in and then open a new PR to do that. I think that is perfectly fine. I still don't know if we're going to change all of those brushes for 5.0 or not. Probably should. Grumble, grumble, grumble. We'll see. Let's see. This is showing it off. Example usage. Like Nikolai deserves a heart for this. So if you are making usage of this, you should certainly do it. I'm going to preemptively schedule this on 5.0. And then this definitely gets the release notes label on it, because this is something that really should be tagged in there. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Some minor cleanup starting in on UI tests. So we're going to do that. Commit push. Because Nikolai leaves, or I guess he didn't even, this is on the main, not even on his fork. Okay, cool. We're going to add our review on here real quick. He generally watches these videos, so he will see this. Let's see. Looking good so far. Would like to see UI tests get implemented. I started on this work and left some comments on things to do. The tests are not all passing yet. Let's see. Specifically, tests on click event and command would be good to do. We're going to do that, submit, and I think that is good and off to the races. Okay, let's go take a look at this milestone. What do we have outstanding here? Breaking changes, and I think, let's see. Let's take a look at some of these. I think I think Nikolai actually sniped a bunch of these, if I remember correctly. Okay, fine. I will shut down so that you are so in case you run into this problem, it's not just a Git Kraken issue. It happens a lot when you use external Git tools. Visual Studio occasionally likes to lock things and make your life a miserable nightmare. So just be aware of it. Okay. Yeah, split.button.xaml doesn't exist because we're now on the main branch. Okay, so let's just real quick check these because I think we've probably. Okay, so this one here we clearly updated and then missed a tooltip. So let's just fix that because this is just a tooltip in the demo. Let's see, because this is wait, isn't that the thing that we said we were killing? Material design raised accent button. Oh, I copied the extra space on the end. I bet you that's the problem. Let's see, find all. So let's deal with some of these guys real quick. This guy here exists. This is obsolete, and so we would like to replace it with this. So, let's just deal with that real quick. And we are going to go here, 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 here. Where's my find results? Pin that sucker for me. Close you. I don't really care about the designer. Okay, so we got that one. Got that one. Got that one. Got that one. Get you. Get you. Got that one. Got that one. Raise secondary button. Then we go here. And we go burn. Okay, so we're going to get rid of that. I think there is another one in here. Design flat accent button. Let's just clear all the button ones together. Boom. Flat accent button has had all of its stuff already cleared. Great. Let's go here. Flat accent. I think that was the one right next door. That one is dead. Okay, so that's going to clean up at least all of those. Let me just search in here for obsolete. Let's check this one because I think I just want to kill off all of these. Let's see here. So this guy goes here. I'm just going to clear out all of the obsolete ones. And I will go document this here in just a moment to make sure I don't lose track of it because I'm trying to make this update as painless as possible for people since I know it's going to suck. Let's see here. So we're going to come in here. Yeah, it's not documented here, so we're going to edit this guy. Let's see. Remove. Let's see. Oh. I got that backwards. That's why I'm confused. Let's see here. And then this isn't secondary. This is... Nope. Killing off the accent one. Okay. Update comment. So now we have 4 that we're nuking. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. Now this guy goes away. Floating action accent button. Okay, so let's do this one as well. I should have probably just kept this thing in edit mode because I have a feeling I'm about to find a bunch of these and we're just going to clean them all up. Let's see. Let's see, remove that one in favor of, you want to try to complete it for me? You not figure out the pattern yet? Dumb AI. Dumb AI. These styles are a little less critical because it's not likely that these are going to be a problem in a lot of situations because one, if people are using these, it's an easy upgrade. And two, you can add in the same sort of forwarding style. So if somebody's like, oh, shoot, I've got a ton of these things throughout the app. I don't want to go change them all. Okay, just put this in your app.xaml and you're done. Problem solved. Let's see. Let's just keep that window pinned for me real quick. There. 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 In case you're wondering why I'm not just blind finding and replacing, it's because I actually want to look at the usages. Okay, so there's that one. Okay. That clears up all of the obsolete button ones. So let's PR that in. Let's see, create branch. Move obsolete button styles. Let's see. Moving obsolete button styles. So here's my thought. I don't know what's cooler. I can go commit push, or I can do just straight commit. And if I just do straight commit, then I can drag onto here and do the push and PR in one shot. I don't know what's cooler. It's really a debatable thing. Whatcha? And then we come in here and we go create pull request. And we go open on GitHub. And then we go enable auto merge, confirm auto merge. 5.0. Okay, so let's take a look here. So that's going to clean those up. We'll come back to these guys because those are brushes. Remove obsolete brushes. Replace uses of accent with secondary. I think that's kind of what we were doing. Ensure all styles and brushes that have the word accent. This is kind of covered with the one above, so I'm just going to mark that as done. Rename all mixing classes to extensions. So let's double check. I think that one Nikolai sniped. Yeah. Yeah, so that is done. Remove material design defaults in favor of defaults 2 or defaults 3. Yo, welcome! Bunch of new people. Welcome to the stream. We are having fun with, oh boy, all kinds of excitement. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. We are powwowing on a WPF theming library called Material Design in XAML. And trying to get this 5.0 release stuff ready and out the door. So, welcome if you are at all interested in C#, and if you are weird like me and enjoy WPF or XAML, you will feel right at home. Or a Motley Crue. I don't mind Motley Crue. That's fine. Yes. Yes, this is one where I cannot claim full credit. I am not the original author of this, but I am currently the active maintainer, or I should say, one of the active maintainers. There's a few of us that have been doing it, but I have a hard time getting away from my WPF, and I love it very much. Though there will be some streams coming up where we take a look at Avalonia and probably some Maui, because. I love all the chatters. Okay. Cool. I have to try it. Yeah. My opinion is this makes it very tolerable. And here, spoiler alert, if anybody's gonna take off and try some stuff, Xamarin Forms refugee here. I totally get it. I was a Xamarin Forms certified mobile developer back when that was still a thing. It was very exciting when they were trying to initially get all of the people excited on Xamarin Forms. I jumped in hook, line, and sinker and built several apps. But if you're going to start a new WPF project, if I can just plug my own template, my opinion, this is the best way to get started. And yes, it preloads the material design library for the theming because I'm biased and I like my own library. So, but like my template tries to at least bring WPF stuff into we'll say a more modern layout. DI, all the things and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, definitely enjoy trying to get stuff put out. It's, there's something to be said. I spend way too much time automating a lot of my projects and I got annoyed with it. So I started templating it because I needed a bunch of this stuff. So, okay. Themes default in favor. I think we already whacked that, didn't we? Isn't this done? I think this is done. Right now, I'm trying to get my backlog for the next release actually complete, so I can actually release it because that sounds like a good idea. Let's see. This is not dead. Well, that's yeah. So we want to kill this off. So we're gonna, how bad is it if I just delete the file? That doesn't sound bad. Yeah, material design is fairly prolific. I will say there's a lot of people who hate this library and its very existence out on, because they argue that Windows desktop apps shouldn't leverage material design. I say you should make beautiful looking apps and you can decide what UI framework you'd like. So, that's my opinion, and I will fully admit that some people disagree with it strongly. Okay, so this is the equivalent of doing 2.defaults. Let's see, and then this is the main one here. So this is also going to be 2.defaults. That looks fine. And then this is theme testing. What are you doing? Oh, this is just building that up. So we're going to do 2.defaults, XAML test extensions, 2.defaults. And then people can pick if they want Material Design 2 or not, Material Design 2 or Material Design 3. With the old dev space. Yeah, there was Microsoft at one point in time. I'm trying to remember what they called it. They've got a, rather than just the regular project templates that kind of, in my opinion, aren't opinionated enough, and they don't give it, like, they try to say, look, you can do whatever you want, but nobody wants that. People want to know what is the right direction to go. Admittedly, there's not one right direction, but I prefer templates that are a little more opinionated and point you in a right direction, and then turn you loose. So I'm trying to remember what it's called. Microsoft, they have kind of like an app starter wizard. And I had submitted at one point in time to have the material design library added to that as an option, and people were not okay with that. Not necessarily Microsoft folks; they're great. Like they are trained to be sensitive and deal with the open source community, which is sometimes not an easy task, admittedly. But there were definitely some outside comments of people going, "I hate this. Why would anyone ever use this?" Blah 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 blah. I'm like, because the default WPF theming looks like crap. And you, in my opinion, you really need a theme library if you're going to do WPF, or your app looks like, knockoff Windows Vista style. Proof in the pudding. Because even professionally, I've been building a WPF app, and you really need to pull something in. The professional one that I use is a combination. We use some of the material design stuff and a lot of the Ma apps related stuff, and then they've also got a commercial solution as well. So, but like this is all the stuff that's in here for what it's worth. Like there's a lot in this little demo app for people who want to play with it. Oh, I wanted to look too because I thought I saw the color yeah, this thing broke at some point and I don't know when. We're gonna need it. We'll go look at the color tool probably next. Let's get a branch with this deletion done. Okay, so create branch, remove defaults, dictionary, boom. Let's see here. Double check my changes. That's fine. That's fine. Oh, this one really should have been in the other branch. I must not have saved all my files. Okay. Let's see, where are we at here? We are here. Obsolete styles. We want to go back to here. And then I would like to add some changes to this. Not you, but you need to be on this branch. You need to be on this branch. You don't. Adding missed files. Commit and push. Boom. Okay. That fixes that branch. Go back to our remove dictionary branch. Come into here. Stage. Boom. Yeah, get out of Deflux Streams. Thanks for dropping in. Always a pleasure. Got some software to deploy in like 7 hours. Yeah. Good luck. We've got a big release coming up soon ourselves, and so it's going to be a fun day. But my team's been doing great at getting like automated tests and whatnot in place, so it feels good, even though there hasn't been like a lot of like beta testing done on it. It's like, you know, we feel pretty confident. Like our test suite gives us a lot of confidence that it's fine. Ship it. So it's fun when you get to that point. It's been like 5 years to get there, but we're finally at the point where the test suite gives us at least some measurable degree of confidence. Let's see, removing defaults dictionary. Okay, so there, commit push. We're just gonna yep, submit, and then we open PR here. Boom, boom, boom. Joshua, I wasn't gonna do it yet because I'm waiting for certain contracts to get signed and put in place. Soon. And it may become obvious when you see more YouTube videos. So if anybody wants a sneak peek, follow YouTube channel. That'll be the place that shows up first. So be kind of cool. Problem is there's no automations. They're still living in the 1930s. Yeah. I work for a couple clients that are kind of like that. It's like why would we bother to automate? We've got people happy to go and do the monkey clicking. Yeah, sold out to corporate overlords. Oh, don't worry, you're not going to see a big change in my content. Here's a hint: it's going to stay really similar to what it is now. And you're still going to see me plugging the same things. It's just now I'm going to be compensated for some of it, which is pretty good. A means to the Mountain Dew end. Yeah, I used to joke with people because occasionally people will ask me like, oh, don't you want to grow your YouTube channel and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I stream online and do these videos for fun. I have automated my export from Twitch to YouTube because I am too lazy to do the video editing and clicking. Like I have a pipeline running FFmpeg to do my video editing for me. That is how lazy I am about this. And I used to always tell people that my definition of made it is when the revenue from YouTube funds my Mountain Dew addiction. Let's see, just done a code freeze trying to sell developing a CI/CD tool. Yeah. The project I'm on now does code freezes as well, and it makes sense. Like a code freeze, it logically makes sense. You know, you're trying to stabilize before a release, but it also indicates a break in your process where there's not enough automation to know completely, right? There's something that still is holding you back. And that's currently what our team is fighting and working through. Seems like a very legit bar for success. Exactly. That you got to know what you want in life. And I tried to set my expectations at a very attainable level. My dad told me the man cannot live on dew alone. That's true. At some point, I have to go and make waffles as well. Obviously. Okay, so that is going to get me those two thingy-mabobbers going on there. And hopefully those two merge and that clears that out. And then everyone's happy and we ship that. Okay, so what else is in here that's not done yet? Let's see. Let's check on... I wanted to do menu item and list box. Let's check and see how many usages of accent are remaining. I think the remove of obsolete brushes is done as well. Yeah, this one I'm going to argue is done. So one thing I will point out for anybody who's doing an upgrade is there is a cheap trick that I left in here is I'm shipping this obsolete brushes resource dictionary. So if you're like, hey, I've got so many uses of primary hue mid brush, I don't want to go through and do a find and replace for the new key for whatever reason, you've got a ton of stuff, too big of a lift. What you can do with the 5.0 release is you can come in here and maybe I should add a sample in here. You can just add in this obsolete brushes resource dictionary. And this is one of the things that I want to write on the docs. But you can add this in, and it'll do the forwarding of the brushes for you, so you don't have to do the find and replace. Now, be aware, this is getting deleted in a future release. It's not going to... it's not going to stick around forever, and I'm not going to guarantee it forever. But this is such a big release with so many breaking changes. I wanted to try to encourage adoption and make it as easy as possible. So... one line, you can get all the old brushes right back and you're off to the races. I'm not doing that with styles because you can add those in one off, two off. Those I struggle to imagine a situation where that's a breaking change that causes anybody a significant amount of work. There's only like half a dozen of them. Find and replace half a dozen references. It's a major version update. Somebody's going to yell at me for it. I know. I get yelled at for every breaking change, but whatever. Be easy to show when it breaks. Yeah. Well, and there is an interesting problem. At a certain scale, a lot of CI/CD gets problematic from execution time. Like you almost need somebody who's going to focus on doing that DevOps type flow. Because like we have pipelines where we measure the execution time and it's more than an hour. Like because just like I was showing earlier with the UI tests for the material design in XAML, they can easily run upwards of 20 minutes. And so at some point, I'm probably going to invest in cleaning them up to speed up their execution time. But there is an idea at scale where at a certain level, there's too many tests to reliably execute every time. And sometimes things can get flaky, especially things like UI tests, where there's like a unit test, you can usually get it down where it's very tightly controlled. But the moment you start doing like end-to-end or integration tests or UI tests, there start to be these kind of outside influences that can mess with things. Like, I don't know, a window accidentally jumps on top of yours where you tried to do a click and something failed. It's like things can happen. And they start, and especially it's like, well, yeah, that doesn't happen much. And when you're only at 300 tests like I am, not a big deal. At 300,000, that becomes a big difference. And so things like, okay, it's okay if we retry tests and that kind of thing. So some of that stuff, it gets interesting to get a full CI/CD done well. And I'd like to think the material design library is starting to steer in a much better direction. Because before, it was very easy to accidentally ship breaking changes. Now there's a lot better test coverage over this, and it's not easy to test a theming library. Like you can't unit test, does this look right? That's not a condition that's easily testable. And yet that is exactly what we've attempted to do. Okay, so let's do accent real quick. Okay, so I'm gonna ignore that one for the moment. I'm gonna ignore that for the moment. Let's see, these are all demo related. Let's kill those off. I don't care. Okay, so there are usages of color and a whole bunch of accent ones. Man, this is going to be a big change. And do we change the color keys from primary and accent to primary and secondary? That is an interesting problem. Now I can do, all of these files here are generated. So I can do that rename real easy. Question is it how badly is it going to break people? If I don't do it, there's not going to be a better time to do it. So let's break some stuff. Let's break some stuff. That's I think that's what I just decided. Yeah, what's the worst? What's the worst that could happen? Okay, so let's collapse some of this stuff up here. Collapse this up here. Collapse this. Collapse this. I'm wanting to get down to here. Okay. Okay, here we go. So we are just going to start inside of this project. I think let's just start hunting all usages of accent. XAML, secondary. Oh, and you should spell accent correctly, because if you don't, that it doesn't work very well. Okay, so we're just going to do there, there, there. And this is going to break some stuff, I can tell already, but that's okay. That is okay. We are going to ingest this change, and it's going to be great. And only a few people are going to yell at me, and I promise it won't hurt. Sometimes I just have to convince myself of it. Let's see. Let's see. Secondary. Some of this code can probably be cleaned up. Color mode. What is this? What is this enum? What I heard is a rename is what this is. Come on, rename. Thank you. Generating suggestions. Okay, Copilot, impress me. Okay, I'm impressed. Enter to rename. Well, all hail the new robot overlords. Let's see. We are up here. Let's see. And then secondary. Let's see here. Boom. Just copy lowercase secondary for the moment. Boom. Oh, as soon as I do that, it switches back to the other one. Let's see. That one. This is one of the few times where I wish I had the VS Code multi-cursor support in Visual Studio. Really great to just go Control D, 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 find and replace. Okay. That gets us into there, and I think this guy just needs to be renamed to secondary. Boom. That is changed up there. These brushes are renamed. Trying to decide how crazy I go here. Let's see, swatches snippet. Don't care. Let's see, find accent. I don't know if I care about changing these ones. I don't think that's relevant. Let's see. Recommended accent template. Oh, this is already changed out. So this is going to be there. And then in order for that to work, we're going to have to go rename the other ones so that those work. Let's see here. I think that is all fine. We'll see about changing that in a moment. Okay. So now I got to remember which invocation actually hits this code path. Generate XAML. Generating XAML for recommended colors. Theming. Theming apparently will do it for me. So, what are you set to? What are you set to? Oh, change startup project. Go to startup project. Generate theming. Go. Let's see. Could not find part of the directory. Let's see. MD resource gen. Material design colors. Red swatch. Why is this one breaking? Something's wrong on this file path. Because this seems like it's nested. This relative path isn't playing nice. Because it's looking for material design colors, but it's looking for it underneath here, and that's going to be up one more level. That's a mistake. Let's try this again. Okay, now I'm really confused. Fairly confident this much of the directory is correct. It's just okay. So that much works. Themes recommended. Because it wants. Okay, so we gotta just rename this. So this needs to become secondary. There's no way this causes me any major headaches. Right? Right? Let's see. What's going on here? Why did you guys all show this changed without me doing anything? Material design colors, WPF. Something is. Oh, it's probably. I should probably not stress because that's not changed yet. Okay, got it. Okay, so that's going to get me to there. That's going to get me to there. Did it work? And it seems to have run to completion. So it did stuff and generated stuff. So the output looks good. Let's build and see. The fact that this thing is here is kind of an indication that I've got at least something to address. The fact that all of these things still have the word accent on them is probably an indication. Let's see. Material design colors named. Like this doesn't need to exist at all. So I think this comes from. There's a swatch. That's not it. That is kind of it. One of you guys here. Let's look. Who generates the swatches? Palette, material design, color. Name, primary, secondary. There's no C# in here. Okay, so this line here just needs to die. This line here needs to die. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, once again done. That means this is now cleaned up. Great. We could actually clean this guy up to be file scope namespace. Let's do that. Because then we can do that. We can do this, and we can get rid of 1\t on every single one of these. Let's see here. And then this is probably not needed, but I'm trying to see where it's going here at the moment. Yeah, because this is colors appending. Do that. I think that's going to give us a cleaner looking file. That looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Okay, so that gets me to there. Let's build and see how close we are. Have we merged? We have merged. Excellent. Move defaults dictionary. That autocomplete is so wonderful. Okay, here in a moment we're going to stash and switch branches. Build success. That's what we like to see. Build success. Okay, so before we get too carried away, stash, create branch off of latest, rename accent. Okay, pop. Okay. Now, I think, see, this is amber. I think I can almost just hunt out dot accent dot XAML. I think we can do this. I think we can do this. Boom. Okay. Why are you showing? I don't know why this thing is showing weird. No, there's no reason for you to be showing weird. Unload, reload. There we go. Okay. I don't know why the icon was showing funny, but now it shows correctly. That's what we're going for. That is what we are going for. Okay. Primary, secondary. And now that we've got those other ones in there, we can just start hunting the word accent out of these. So this one here, named primary, named secondary. Yeah, so now we can hunt these out where those are using the wrong ones. Primary. This should now be secondary. We're just going to replace all of these. I think we can get rid of this. Because with the latest material design, they stop using the word accent in favor of the word secondary, which is fine. It's just really annoying for people like me who have to deal with this stuff. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Ventus 007, welcome. Okay. That should have cleaned up the recommended colors. There we go. Those are changed. Those are changed. Huzzah, huzzah. It's so nice being able to do that kind of mass change and get away with it. Okay, so we're going to have to deal. These accent ones are fine because these are these ones here are to support MA apps. Yeah. So, and they're even commented out. So that is not a hit that we care about. This one here I don't remember why we were using this. This one's probably not going to be relevant for much longer, but we'll leave it for the moment as something to potentially look at. These ones are apps names. Don't care. Well, I care a little bit. I kind of want to do secondary, and then do something to that effect. And then this one, swatch, has accent exemplar hue, secondary exemplar hue, and then is accented. I want to do secondary hues. And I think I want to do has secondary. This is kind of a meaningless thing here. There's 4 references. What is it using? Yeah, this is almost a meaningless property. I don't know if I like it. I don't think I like it. So we're going to kill it. And instead of checking it here, we're going to do if accent is greater than or equal to 0. How about is greater than or equal to 0. And let's see, less than accent hues list dot count. Oh, this is probably not going to play nice because it wants a const if I do the pattern matching. Fine. We'll do it the old-fashioned way. I get it. And if that is set, then we'll do this. Because what we really care about is, can we use this index to reach into this list? Yes or no? That's really what we care about. Okay. Okay, so accent has now died out of there. No, it hasn't. Secondary, except for you should probably spell secondary correctly. Our AI overlords will promptly fix my spelling for me. I will say that is the best thing of AI, is it makes me seem like I know how to spell. I don't, but it makes me feel like it, and that's important. Okay. So we changed. Let's see. We want to fix the XAML in here now. Let's see here, because this is leveraging a command. Let's see. Apply secondary. Let's check the other ones here. Visibility is accented. Is this still a thing? Oh, it's binding. Oh. It's binding to that to know. Man, I almost like the idea of just leveraging null in here. Secondary exemplar hue. And we'll do that. I'm trying to decide the best way to do this, because the whole idea here is if that is, do we have like a null to visibility converter? We do. Sweet. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to leverage that. Close this off because this guy here is up Yeah, so let's just go up here. Let's see. Don't care about any of this. Maybe we'll do it here at this level. Do you have any resources? You've got the Boolean to visibility one already added. So let's do X key. Do that. It gets that in. Oh, shut up. Yeah. No, bad tooltip. Don't help me. Okay, so we'll come in here, and then I think what we are going to do is we are going to change the... where were we? Exemplar hue, or secondary exemplar hue, converter, null to visibility converter. So this guy here should be if null collapsed, right? Null value collapsed, not null visible. Great. That's exactly what we want. And then we don't need that property. Secondary goes there. Okay, so that gets that going. Okay. I think that takes care of this guy. We'll check here. Those were all the maps ones. So that cleans that up. That cleans that up. Okay, so this guy here comes in, and this should be secondary now. Nope, stop helping me. Secondary. Thank you. Keep hunting this guy here. Let's see. Secondary. I should really be checking these to make sure that this still works. I think that this whole API still works. We'll come back to double checking that. For now, we're just going to keep replacing. That handled that. That handled that. Then we're once again going to do the change up in here. Apply. Let's see. I think inside of here we can actually just blindly apply this. Be fine. Pick up all of those. That's all fine. That's all fine. Repeat find. Okay, so we're going to collapse this guy because I think we've taken care of all of them. Just going to double check it one last time. It's fine. This one, we missed one guy, one usage in here. Or we didn't get it. Too slow, Copilot. I win. I'm the real developer. Get in line. Okay. This guy here used to be called secondary. Just to clean that up. And then I think we're going to do the same. This code, I believe, is just basically duplicated from the other one. So we're going to go here. We're going to go here. And then null the visibility converter, X key, same thing. Auto code to victory for the namespace. And then go back to here. This goes here, and rather than is accented, what was it? Secondary exemplar hue. Do that. Do that. Keep going. I should just leave this pinned. Collapse that up. Let's flatten this. We've made enough of a mess of this. Secondary. Apply. Secondary command. And then secondary. Okay, that handles the main demo. Now we're going to end up doing more or less the exact same thing here, because this one is very much a duplicate. When we made the Material Design 3 demo app, it was literally taken as a copy and paste with a handful of things changed. That's just a bad tooltip. Let's see. Hello? Why are you opening? Okay, so we've got a style in here that is problematic. Why is this one not marked as deprecated? It is. I thought we killed these. Apparently I did not get them all. And we're just going to burn it down now. Okay. Those go there, that goes there. Okay, so here's more obsolete brushes. Okay, chip accent checkbox. This guy here becomes that. He's already labeled secondary. Let's clean my bookmarks up because I want to make sure I don't lose these. Well, at minimum, we will catch them when we get into the other library. This guy here. Nope. That's the screenshot button, not the replacement button. Boom. And then we've already fixed most of these. But I think we want to kill these all the way off. Let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to flag him as obsolete. Place him. This guy's already marked as obsolete. Okay. Boom. Okay. That fixes all of that up. This one here, I think we can just do the auto replace on all of these. Most of those are caught. That handles that. Let's see, we're going to call this secondary. There. Collapse you out. I don't want to look at you anymore. Yeah, secondary mid. Okay, just wanted to make sure I wasn't seeing the thing that I was expecting to see. Secondary. Okay, and this is going to be another one of those converter games We'll come up here and we will grab the visibility converter. Do that again. Auto code the namespace, and in we go. And let's see here. Collapse that. Jump in here. So secondary exemplar hue, and then the visibility converter. Secondary exemplar hue. Let's see. Secondary command. That should handle that. And then you become secondary. Clean that up. Clean that up. Would you ever consider pulling in some of the extras from the extensions library? It looks like it's no longer being maintained. The file and folder dialogues would be useful as first-class citizens. It's definitely something that has been considered. Some of the issues with the controls in the extensions library is they're very much designed as MVVM implementations rather than generic reusable components. So there's some work that would need to go into getting them to be that point. I've also contemplated rolling additional packages because this is really designed as a theme library, not necessarily as a control library. And there's a delicate balance there between what makes sense. Because, like, for example, we just looked at the split button earlier. And so oftentimes if we're bringing in new controls, the goal is to make them controls that are useful for implementing things that show up in like the material design spec. Like that's kind of the ish guideline where I've gone through. Like we've got pop-up box and dialog host and things that are definitely extra controls, but they don't need to, like, without them, if all you did was theme the default controls, you'd lose a lot of stuff. So yeah, there is something to be said about pulling them in, and I've contemplated building out alternate dialogues in the past. It's just to do them well takes quite a bit of work. Not opposed to the idea, but definitely something that that could go in. So I'll put it this way: I would not be opposed if somebody wanted to port some of the stuff and bring it in. I wouldn't just take them as straight copy paste though. There would need to be some cleanup and basic removal of MVVM from the user control itself. But yeah, I can definitely understand the idea of wanting to have those types of controls as first class citizens, because there isn't great pickers inside of WPF. Though I will say, Nikolai, welcome. I will say that there are, .NET 8 did bring us a feature. What's new in .NET 8? So, WPF made the list. That's what excited me so much. This people who say we don't get anything new. .NET 8, we got new stuff. So some hardware acceleration bits, but we got the open folder dialog. The one that's existed in Windows for years finally made it into the base class library. Huzzah! So we got something new. Now, we should have gotten it like years ago, but it finally made it there. Yeah, if you want to take a run at it, Izzy, like I said, I'm not opposed to bringing them in. There's a slightly higher bar for what I have for the controls in this library that a lot of the extension controls don't quite make it there. I've also contemplated putting out my own kind of extensions library on top of this with some things, because I've got a handful of controls where I'm like, I almost want an experiments library. Like there's a lot of places where they've got kind of the equivalent of an extensions library, and it's a playground for things to be tried in, but they don't have the same level of support. And it's like, I don't know if that would be useful to people. So, like, I've contemplated it, but I'm also on the fence. Nikolai, we reviewed your PR earlier in the stream. For the most part, it was very good. The only thing that I came across that needs to be fixed is it didn't look like the command property or the click handlers were being properly handled. So I started in on writing some of the UI tests to try to address those, and then I stopped. So, but overall, the thing looked great. Let's see. No, stop. That's not right. Let's see. Oh, hang on. Thank you. I just wish you were a little faster. Yeah, something like that. I just don't know if I made something that was a experimental controls type package, if people would actually want that. Like that's kind of the weird part, is the fact that it's labeled experimental. Would people use it in their apps or not? Like that's one of those cases where it's like, I don't know how useful that is. Because I could put stuff together. For the left side button, I suspect I thought I had that. Could have been one of the other draft PRs I closed in. Yeah, I didn't see it, and I started writing some UI tests around it. And yes, specifically for the left button, I was thinking on it a bit, and I don't think for the right button, I wouldn't expect it to trigger click or to trigger the command, because that doesn't really make a lot of sense. I also put in a UI test to make sure that we can put like a button in the pop-up, because like the Simply Budget sample that I gave you, that's basically my use case. Is I want the primary button, and then I want to drop down with kind of a secondary control. Basically, I want to implement this, right? And I say this and I put it behind my big head. I want this behavior from Get Kraken, is I want to be able to and have a button here and have it work. And it looks, I think the UI test for that one was in a working state. Yeah, completely agree. Those three should be wired straight through on the left button, and then the click event handler. I also pushed a commit, and I don't think we needed the extra wiring that you had done for the right button to do the pop-up box. And so I pushed a commit where it still works, but it does it all in the XAML. Oh, the click bubbles up automatically. Oh, interesting. Does it though? I might have to go back and look at the test, because I started writing a UI test for it, just to confirm. Why are we not using? Oh, we're not using array.empty here because array.empty doesn't exist in the older ones. Got it. Surprised me, but I tested it in the demo. I tried it out. Okay, cool. No, if that works, then we should be fine. I think then all I would want to do is get the UI test implemented, and then I flagged the thing preemptively for 5.0 because I think it's close enough to ready to ship it, so might as well. Let's see. We'll add pattern matching while we're in here. More pattern matching. Let's see here. Those are all cleaned up. So sure, right now, just going through and cleaning out all of the remaining breaking changes. Has no secondary. So this is that property that we deleted. Secondary hues. Oh, that's already being checked, so we can just delete those. Indigo has secondaries. We can just do that. And all of those things just now work. Okay. And then that one isn't mine. And this is why I can't just blind replace the word accent, because Ma apps is a thing. And that is a term they use on theirs. Okay. So we're going to go here. That one we also can't replace because it's Ma apps. Ma apps. Let's see. These ones should be replaced. And this is the nice part, is because this should all get caught by secondary. These should all get, if I had missed any of these, they should all get caught by these UI tests, which makes me very, very happy. Secondary. Boom. Boom. That doesn't count. Let's see here. Come on. Come on, AI. You're a little slow. Killing off accent for good. Yeah, it was one of the things that I had in the list of breaking changes, and decided that I was getting annoyed with the number of weird things around it. And I think I'm switching up what I had said before. Is the 5.0, I was trying to avoid too many breaking changes, and I think this one I'm just... I think killing it on a major version release rather than letting it live is probably a better option. I will say, if this was a little faster to like load the suggestions, that would be absolutely killer. Yeah. Yeah, rather than messing with it and fighting and working around it, we're just gonna murder it real quick. See, because me as a crap typer can type faster than it can come up with the right answer. So it's like, it can get the right answer. I just needed to get the right answer in a more timely manner. Okay, that clears that. That clears those. Okay, and now we're getting into the obsolete ones. You should now be dead. And you should now be dead. So suck. You're probably right. I should probably be putting these in an obsolete styles list. Dang it. I didn't start doing that, and I probably should be. Because you suck. You're right. We really should do a... No, you're right to call it out. We should do something like this, right? Where there's obsolete styles and move them all into there. Obviously, it doesn't get included by default anywhere, but if... at minimum, it serves as a bit of documentation for people to... like, if they don't want to bring in the whole dictionary, they can open the dictionary up and just copy out the ones they want. Like, that's an option. Okay, fine. I'll have to go back and look at my... oops. Didn't get the whole thing. I'll have to go back through and look at my commit and clean up all the ones I missed. Is this going to be a problem? I'll have to test this. Yeah, there's only shims for the brushes, not the styles. And we did leave shims in place like this, but I don't like them cluttering up the main one. Maybe I should. I'm wondering if maybe I should have, rather than having one. Well, that sounds like more work than it's worth. I was going to contemplate having a separate obsolete resource dictionary for each control type. No, that's way too much work. That's way too much work. Way too much work for something that people hopefully aren't relying on or using for long term. Because if they're using it long term, we have a different problem. Because they absolutely should not be using this long term. Let's just pin you so I stop losing you. And that way we can clean all of this up. And I guess I do have, like, my Simply Budget one will be a good test of this to see if I can just drop the shims in and have it just work. Yeah. I'm thinking this will be fine. I'm just, part of me is pausing a little bit because wondering if this guy's then going to need a reference to the source one where it's based on is coming from. I don't think so. But I think I am going to move all of these. And I probably need to go back and look at the 5.0 breaking changes because I think there's other commits where I've just whacked them already. So I should probably go back and resurrect some of those, which it won't be hard. Ideally, I've documented them all in the breaking 5.0 changes. So hopefully I have a list. So that'll make it mildly nice, but I may end up having to just diff across everything. Like, for example, this one I've clearly already killed on this one. Yeah. Though I'm kind of wondering if I can cheat. Like, can I just merge? I think I can get away with... Well, I think I can get away with this. Let's see. Design, theme. Like, I think I can get away with this. Because that's going to bring in all of the default resource dictionaries that will have them all. So I think then I can skip on having to set them all. I think that makes me happier. And then we don't have these obsolete ones everywhere, and that makes me feel mildly nicer. At least then I can then hunt the word accent, and anything that's not in an obsolete file becomes a target, and everything else can live. Okay, this comes in here. There is a breaking change that I also am not interested in making backwards compatible. Is the path inside of material design colors. I suspect the number of places where people have this is going to be limited to only to their app.xaml though. Like, it's going to be pretty unusual that somebody's brought it in unless they've done a whole bunch of individual theming stuff on like different windows, which I kind of suspect is not going to happen. Okay, that one wasn't being used. So repeat find all. Okay, so we're just going to ignore the Ma apps one. This one is just in the demo app, so we clean that up. That's just in the demo app. We clean that up, and that goes away. Default, clean that up. Those are just content changes. These are all Ma apps ones. Ma apps. Yeah, I think we can safely assume this guy doesn't matter. That's also Ma apps. That's also Ma apps. Oh, that's all the same project. Okay. Pack icon, don't care about. Did I not get one? I missed this one. Let's see. And then that cleans up those ones. And then this is obsolete styles we don't care about. And then this one we don't care about. We got them all. Okay. So now the big question is how many of these things did I botch and not move into the obsolete? Now it's only a small PR of 209 changes. Just a little one. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to move these to the side real quick so I can keep track of what I'm doing. But I just have, well, actually, hang on. We can do it like this. Just collapse this. Okay. Accent checkbox. Copy. Paste. Okay, there's that one. There's that one. Okay, that handles that one. List box, I think we already did. Material design. Yeah. Navigation, accent, list box item. So we picked up those. List box. Chip, accent, list box item. Yeah, so those ones are fine. Don't care about you. Floating action pop-up box. Yeah, did not do you. So that one we pick up, and then radio button. Let's see. The pop-up box one, I need my namespace include for to make that guy happy. Same silly old clock time next week. Yep, Izzy. For me, unfortunately, it is 11:20 p.m., which is the time when I'm able to stream. Specifically, the time after I've gotten kids to bed and have evening hours available. Okay, radio buttons cleaned up. Okay, so I think this at least picks up all of the ones that were in this particular round of changes. There are probably others that need to be picked up and added, but I will do those at a different time. I am going to leave a note on the breaking 5.0 changes here. Let's see. These ones here. So let's do something like this. Ensure all removed obsolete styles exist in the obsolete shim That way I've got at least a note to go back and address it. The heck just happened? Put an extra space in somewhere, didn't I? What did I do wrong? That. Update. There we go. Okay, so this is done because the PR merged. This is done. This is done. This is done. This is done. And this is done. And I think these are going to be ones that I need to go back and add in because I just nuked them previously. So, removing all usages of accent from the library, switched to use secondary as the preferred term. Okay, commit push, submit, and then this one will not shock me if there's this one will not shock me if there are pipeline failures. Okay. Okay, that goes there. I think I am going to tag this guy release notes just so I don't miss them, but we'll turn on auto merge. If it passes, it can merge. It means all of the tests are in and working. Okay, let's go back to master real quick. Reset. Thank you. Okay, the one thing I wanted to look at next, we'll see if I fade too quickly or not. We'll see if I can muster enough intelligence to be able to do this. Okay, so I've done something that has broken the color theming page on the demo apps, and we should fix them because they be broken and not working. And I don't know exactly. It's very plausible that it was done at a later point. Why am I getting emails about things not building properly? This ran one failed. Oh, it's a UI test. But it failed post-merge, not pre-merge, which is interesting and immediately makes me suspect it's a flaky test. Oh, the stupid auto-suggest box test again. Thought we fixed this. Bothers me. Bothers me a great deal. I thought it was fixed. Apparently, I just made it less likely to fail. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. I was worried it was easy. Okay, fine. We will take a look at it. Okay, okay, there were build errors. What are the build errors? I don't think there are build errors. I think you were lying to me, Visual Studio. I think you were unhappy that I changed out the files underneath you. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. I believe in you. I believe in you. One failed. Okay, where is the failure? You can't just say one failed. You have to tell me what is. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I realize you're insisting that one of these projects is failing, but would you like to tell me which one? Build started. I must be blind or stupid because I'm not seeing it. Like, it compiled the UI test project and got an assembly out. I'm restarting VS because I'm convinced it is lying to me and doesn't know which end is up. Okay. I will say, I am running preview versions of Visual Studio, and one succeeded. Great. I don't know what's up. Okay. Okay. You insist on lying to me. Okay. Launch demo app. Launch demo app, and let's go figure out what the heck we broke. This is probably something stupid, easy, and simple, and not horribly. Let's try that again. Mountain Dew. And not something horribly complicated. Okay, so color tool, and yeah, this not supposed to look like this. Okay, step one. Favorite good pal Snoop here. I strongly suspect this is an issue of like the templating going wrong or something. So items presenter, which is going to come from probably an items control. Great. Okay, and if I look at items source, I see this is bound to the path of swatches. Whenever you see a kind of a text block layout here, this is, a telltale sign that something is probably just failing a template binding. So this is recommended purple swatch. So I'm willing to bet. Oh, I bet you I even know what change did this. Give me, go back up to the items control, color tool view model. Thank you. Color tool view model. This guy here has a set of swatches, which is here, and it implements an eye swatch. And we go and look at color tool. Go and find, because I'm willing to bet it's going to be up here. Swatch color template. See, it's going to be something like that where it's subtly been switched. What is theme settings? I don't know this thing. What is theme settings? Oh, I do know this thing. Okay, never mind. Okay, we're good. Okay, I want the items control. Where's the items control? Items control. Okay. Item template, data template, binding swatch. Okay, stack panel, text block. This guy here. Hues is not found. So on I swatch, it doesn't expose hues. Go to implementation. So previously we were able to get all of the hues out of it, and now there isn't a thing for hues. And I think it's just after the colors, right? So let's see, what is this guy doing? Template binding, items control. Yeah, because this is trying to bind to the name and then get all of the hues out of here. Swatch color template. Let's look at the template here. Yeah, this guy just wants all the colors. So what we probably should do down here then is just, I'm wondering if we, because we could just converter this. Because an eye swatch does contain, so the functionally what broke is when we did this change here, apparently about 145 days ago, done by some moron named Kevin. Did this, and I wonder if we can just do lookup.values and call it a day. Bet you we can do that. Lookup.values. I bet you we get away with that. So something worth knowing about dictionary is the order of items in the dictionary is explicitly not guaranteed. However, the implementation inside of .NET and how it has been for a very long time is that you get the items back out in the order they were inserted. Hey, look at that. That looks better. There. Okay, so functionally that's all that it took, was doing something like that. I'm wondering why we made this guy so tiny and this guy so tall. Like I kind of get what's going on here. Is this tab control thing. I almost want to take these tabs, rather than having them on the right, move them to the top, because this is not obviously a tab control. Yeah, and so that thing shrinks based upon min height. That's probably okay. That's probably okay. Then you can see the color adjustment to make sure that it's readable. So depending on what you want, you can turn that on or off. Okay, so I think I need to do the same thing on the Demo 3 app. That is start a project. I'm just going to preemptively jump there because I kind of suspect it's going to be the same exact thing. Yeah. Lookup dot values. One time, because we explicitly want to prevent the binding leak problem. So for people unfamiliar, if you data bind to something that doesn't implement iNotify property changed, and your mode isn't something like one time, in order to attempt to watch it for property changes, it has to wrap it, and it causes a bit of a memory leak. So in general, if you're binding to a property, make sure it's on something that implements iNotify property changed, or do something or do something similar, like change your mode to one time, because in general, if you're binding to something that doesn't implement iNotify property changed, it's probably not a property change that you're expecting to work anyway. Okay, so there, that fixes all that. Okay, great. Okay, so we're gonna do here, create branch, fix color tool, boom. Oh, real quick, let's check the Ma apps one. I don't think it's going to be subjected to the same problem, but let's just check it real quick. It's probably fine because it does different stuff. Yeah, because it's very much got the old school way of picking this. It's a little interesting to me that the foreground colors don't appear to be matching, so that's mildly concerning, but I'm guessing we just haven't mapped something with the brush changes. Not going to worry about it for this branch. Let's see. Fixing color tool in demo apps. Just needed to get the colors from the lookup dictionary. Commit and push. Submit. There we go there. Start pull request. Create pull request. And then enable auto merge. Put you into there, and that'll fix that. And I think that gets us pretty close. Let's see, milestone. I want to just check what's in here. Oh, we've got the flipper stuff I wanted to take a look at. Interesting. Why do we have... this. Okay. I'm gonna... Well, I guess that's fine. I was just curious. These were ones, I'm guessing I added these in the 5.0 release. Yeah. I have been playing around a lot with pop-up box, and I've noticed there's some interesting focus issues that I may try to address just for my own sanity. This one got fixed, didn't it? Yeah, this is fixed. Yeah. Close is completed. Linked PR closed. Okay, so I just didn't close that one out. And these are just the new PR. So that's, aside from going through and playing with flipper stuff, which I think the flipper, my hope here is that we can do kind of a bait and switch approach where we use the 3D WPF stuff just during the animation, and then we go to regular WPF controls outside of it. That will more or less address every single issue that's shown up in here, because the whole thing of, you can't change colors when changing palette, all this comes from the idea of the flipper currently is basically using a visual brush, and it sucks. Because it basically has to snapshot the controls, and so you get issues with blurring of text, you get issues with color changes, and it's all around because it needs to use the 3D stuff in order to make the 3D flip animation. I think we can do it and either only drop into the 3D stuff for the animation, which is kind of my goal for what I think we can do, and that'll address a bunch of these. Interesting. I should go and look at this one. I don't remember this. Yeah, this is one of those weird cases where somebody's running multiple UI threads, and yeah, I strongly suspect this is just a case of we've got something that's making an assumption on a single dispatcher or similar. Yeah, static list of pressed instances that doesn't belong to the thread that it's getting accessed on. And so this is probably a case where we just need to delegate access. Okay, enough chatting. Okay, thank you everyone for coming and hanging out. For anyone who's still sticking around from the raid earlier, thank you. Hopefully this was mildly interesting. I am somewhat motivated. This 5.0 release is drug on forever, and I feel like I'm just a broken record repeating it over and over and over. But I do want to try to get some of this stuff merged and out the door and get it actually shipped so we can start moving on to other more interesting things. Nikolai, let me know if you've got any questions on the PR stuff that I did. But like I said, I think it's just UI tests, and it should be good to merge. Like the control itself looked great. Once it goes in, I think my plan will be to use my Simply Budget app as a test bed, and I'm just going to rev it up to the latest 5.0 thing and see if I can leverage the new controls and how it works. So, Andrew, always a pleasure seeing you. With that, I'll tell everyone happy coding. See y'all next time.